Hello, good morning, everybody. Joey J. Ping here. Respect my region. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are back on
Good
episode
morning.
11 of Joint Podcast. Today I have my co-host, Hannah Gershowitz. How are you doing, Hannah?
Hello, everybody. Good morning from the East Coast. Doing well over here. How about you?
I feel like I just skimmed over the T in your last name. Gershowitz, not Gershowitz.
Yeah, I have a tea.
I feel like I just mumbled through that on
A lot of people say Gercho, and I don't know where they
Gershowitz.
get that from. So you were closer.
You don't even have any form of witchy vibes. You're like one of the most
Yeah.
pleasant, non-dark, non-black, like makeup, hair having, women that I've met. Very bright and colorful. I
Yeah.
love it. All right, so Hannah, you've curated some really good content for us today. Again, we're back. We're episode 11 of the Morning Joy podcast. I believe I went first last week. Did you go first? What did we do? Do you remember?
I think you went first last week.
Well, let's go ladies first if you're down. If
Can
not, I can
start.
go first. If not, I can go first, or we can go
Yeah, I
back
can
and forth. I've
start
been
it out.
thinking. I've been thinking lately that I kind of like the idea of me also listening to you talk and like and being here, so I can get some of the reactions. So, if you wouldn't mind, I think I'm gonna just chill here and roll this up and mute myself, and I'll just kind of like listen and react, and then not interject. And that's like I'm like, oh my
Okay.
god. I don't know. I feel like let's
That
switch
works.
it up. It's the first episode of a new 10. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah. We got the
all right.
first 10. We got, the simple, the bones down, and now we can try new things.
And we don't have any bosses, so if we want to switch it up, we will switch it up. Um, okay, so first things first, we'll let you get rocking. As everybody here that's hanging out, checking things out. The biggest story of the day, in our opinion, is that legal cannabis states made more than $3.7 billion. So Hannah has a series of stories. I have a series of stories. I'm gonna pop on LinkedIn and Facebook and share all this shit. Hannah, take it away.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I got some cannabis news for you today, some music news for you. Joey will be covering a bit more cannabis than I will, and I'll be covering a bit more music. But I'm going to hop right into the cannabis news. First up, we got Georgia medical cannabis. We've covered Georgia's a few times on past episodes, and it's not looking up, unfortunately. I'm currently living in Savannah, Georgia, so I'm always keeping up with what's going on here because I'm from Florida, where we have a medical market, and I'm used to, being able to purchase products easily. And then I moved to Georgia, and there's none of that available. So they do have a medical program up here in Georgia, but they don't have any system in place to allow retail. So there's no physical, there's no way for patients to get products. You can actually get your medical card here, but you cannot buy products. So obviously that's a big issue for cannabis patients here that are looking for their medicine. So this with what's going on with Georgia medical cannabis. So this is over in high times. You can read more about this. So Georgia medical cannabis bill dies in state Senate. The Georgia legislature failed to approve a medical cannabis compromise bill this week, leaving the state's patients without a legal way to access their medicine. So it looks like there was a bill to repair Georgia's failed medical cannabis program, but that bill died in the state Senate this week because lawmakers just cannot compromise. Looks like the legislation was originally approved, and then they couldn't come up with a compromise to put the systems in place. So yeah, a lot of people are really disappointed, reasonably, and this just really sets them back a ton because the process to get through, they're not short processes; they take a while. So it looks like they're kind of going to have to start fun. So we'll keep updating you with what's going on in Georgia, but it's not looking hopeful, um, unfortunately. Next up, we got a list of the most weed friendly in the US. So let's see. Or I think this title misled me. It sounded like it was a list, but I think it's just saying that Portland ranked second best weed city in the US. So this article is pretty much saying that on let me see if I can find this list somewhere in here. Cashing in on however this article is not very clear. It's pretty much saying that Oregon is a great place to live for if you're interested in weed when it comes to buying affordable weed, having weed accessible around, the quality of the weed, the variety of et cetera, et cetera. So it's not a huge surprise. Portland was one of, or Oregon was one of the first states to legalize recreational weed and one of the biggest markets. Definitely one of the, what would be the word? I guess a kind of looser cultural
Legacy,
market where,
legacy, legacy, legacy.
yeah,
That's the word.
where you can go into a store and they'll bring you a whole jar of weed for you to look at and smell, and you can see what you're buying. And it just, I've not shopped there, but it sounds like it may be a better overall shopping experience than, say, in Florida, where you go to the dispensary and you can't see what you're buying, you can't smell what you're buying. Buy in bulk at most places, you have to buy in eighths. So it makes a lot of sense why Oregon would be up there as second best,
Quick learning
city,
moment
pot
there.
friendly places.
I didn't know what you were talking about at first, but it's not called legacy. That's actually called deli style. In cannabis, that's specifically called deli style, where they bring the jars, they weigh it out in front of you with the chopsticks, and then they put it out there. So you got to get there, Hannah. Deli style. They're still doing it to this day.
Yeah,
Americana R, man. Our friends at Americana RX, they always take care of us out there in Portland, man.
yeah, I need to experience that. I'm sick of weed or smelling it before I buy it.
Oh man, it's funny though. It's funny though. Once you go like Americana has legitimately a wall of weed jars, and when you go there, they're always super pleasant, and they bring down the jars for you. They let you smell the buds. In my opinion, the weed in Oregon, it smells fresher. It smells doughier. It smells lighter, creamier. I feel like in LA, Sacramento, the Bay, it's more potent, more exotic, more, oh my God. But in Oregon, for some reason, I feel like, not to say that it's a slight echelon lower, I feel like it's just different, you know?
Yeah, and then you go to Florida and it just smells just leafy weed.
Does it really?
It's not super flavorful down in Florida. You're not gonna really taste
Mm,
too many fruity flavors or doughy flavors or anything, unfortunately. I think it's just because I don't know how they manufacture it and stuff, just the fact that a lot of it sits on the shelves for a while before it gets sold. I buy the
mm,
minis because the minis seem to be the freshest and have more of the flavors, if any.
interesting.
But yeah, definitely looking forward to get over and try that West Coast weed.
Shout out to Portland.
But I actually
Shout out
did
to
find
Florida,
the
man.
what was that, Joey?
So just shout out to Oregon and shout out to Florida. You know what I'm saying? We got legal weed, coast to coast.
Yeah, just shout out to anywhere. But I actually did
Yeah, but
find
not
this.
Georgia. No Georgia though.
Yeah, thumbs down for
Oh my
Georgia. Like, how are you gonna make medical weed legal and then not be able to put a system in place for years?
God. Ugh, Jesus.
Shame. But
Shame
yeah,
on
I actually found this
you.
article that talks about some of the other cities great for stoners. So this is mentioning Denver, Las Vegas, Sacramento, San Jose, Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Washington D.C. Oh wait, as Washington D.C. is the worst place for stoners because of the high price. But yeah, so those are some of the states. Not very surprising. Next up, I'm gonna jump right into music news. So we got INSOMNIAC revealed their EDC week events. So EDC going on in May, near the end of May in Las Vegas, one of the biggest EDM events in the country. Definitely the biggest EDM event over on that side of the country. So they don't just do their like 3-day event. They also do like a whole week of events leading up to it and during the weekend. Literally never ending. So if you're trying to party 24/7 at EDC, like you literally can. Not recommended, but you can. So it like starting on Wednesday, there's multiple club parties. On Thursday, there's about a dozen with artists like Tiesto, Alesso, Illenium, Porter Robinson, Timmy Trumpet. There's some pool parties. On Friday, about a dozen more. You got TYGA, some hip hop there. You got Dead Mouse, Martin Garrix, again, more pool parties. Looks like there's pool parties every day. Saturday got Loud Luxury, Chris Lake, Alesso, Murder Beats. Sunday got Steve Aoki, Diplo, etc., etc. Monday, Steve Aoki. Tuesday, even the Tuesday after EDC, they're still going. They got Techno Taco Tuesday. So if you're still EDC, you can still celebrate for a couple more days. So that's what INSOMNIAC's got going on over there for EDC week. Next up, we got Lyrical Lemonade Smash lineup. So if you don't know, they're big name in hip hop, known for music videos. Cole Bennett has been putting together dope music, rating dope emerging hip hop artists for many, many years now, and they're now throwing festivals. So over in Chicago, Illinois, on June through the 19th, you got a hip hop lineup containing Post Malone, Playboi Carti, Young Thug, Gunna, Young Thug and Gunna joint set. We got Wiz Khalifa, Trippie Redd, Ski Mask, Slump God, Flo Milli, Rico Nasty, Snot, and tons of emerging names. Let's see if any pop out. We got 347 Aiden. You probably heard his song on TikTok. Got D Savage. We've covered him. Got, let's see, Warhol, SS, and many more. Next up, we got Sunset Festival unveils their Phase 2 lineup. So EDC, Orlando, and Ultra are two of the biggest EDM festivals over here in Florida. But now you got Sunset Music Festival, who's also been around for a decent amount of years by now, but they've just expanded tremendously this year. So they're kind of up there competing with EDC and Ultra this year. Their first 2 days for I don't know how long they've been around, but it's always been a 2-day festival, and they just expanded it to 3 days this year, and they have booked some huge artists. So they have Skrillex, Illenium, Alesso, It's Dead, tons of huge headliners, but on top of that, a lot of exciting names, a lot of exciting smaller names such as John Summit. We got Noizu, Dala, Crystal Skies, Chris Lorenzo, tons and tons of artists. The second phase announced, let's see, I did mention some of these, but we got Chris Lorenzo, Bonnie and Clyde, Liquid Stranger, LPGB, Noizu, Duke Dumont, and much more. So this place over on May 27th through 29th. I believe that's Memorial Day weekend. Yeah, over in Tampa. I've not attended this before. I've heard some mixed things. I've just heard it's very hot there, but that's pretty expected in Florida. So yeah, great EDM lineup over there. Next up, we got Swedish House Mafia will be replacing Kanye at Coachella. So Kanye West pulled out of Coachella earlier, or I believe earlier. Didn't give a reason. We're not very surprised. I don't think many people are very surprised. I feel like a lot of people are kind of speculating that he'd drop out. So a lot of people have been kind of talking about who would be replacing him before he even dropped out. So it looks like I believe Swedish House Mafia was already on the bill, if I'm not mistaken. But I think that they weren't headlining. So it looks like The Weeknd was added to the bill, but it looks like The Weeknd and Swedish House Mafia might be performing together. Yeah, okay. It says The Weeknd will share the top line okay. It sounds like they're performing together, but I'm not 100%. It would make sense because they do have many songs together. Or not many, but they have a few songs together. But yeah, it sounds like they'll be performing together, so that's pretty exciting. Next up, we got, or last up from me, Mind Chatter. Probably not a name you guys have heard of. It's kind of like electric alternative music, I would say. It's very electric-y music, but then if you go see him live, he's not just up there DJing, like, he's performing, he's singing, he's playing the keys and stuff. We just caught him over at Okeechobee Music Festival. I've been a big fan of him for a while now, and we got an interview set up with him, also a giveaway. So he has just released his Dream Soup sophomore album and has just embarked on his headlining tour, and he's stopping all around the country, including in Seattle, which is our stomping grounds. Not my stomping grounds, but Armar's stomping grounds. Um,
Hey,
so we're
you're
giving away
banging some
tickets
206
to his
now.
Seattle show that is coming up on, let's see, May 13th at Madame Lou. So we're giving away 2 free tickets. Over to our website, to the article, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see where to enter. And all you have to do is put your email in, and that is your entry. And yeah, that is all from me. I'm gonna pass it on to Joey.
Yo, super interesting. There's a lot of really cool moves and exciting stuff going on. Big shout out to EDC and INSOMNIAC for always including us. Big shout out to the different festivals, and also to Coachella, Kanye. You know, I want to see Kanye before I die, but if I go my whole life without seeing Kanye, then I'm okay with being on that side of the fence too. You know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing it. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay, Hannah, what do we got? What do we got today? So I'm the yellow, right? Per usual. All right.
Yep.
So first things first, everybody. New Mexico medical marijuana patients are struggling to find products 2 weeks into legal sales. Anybody that looks outside of California, anybody that has time to look at any other recreational cannabis industry that came before them knows that there is not enough product for the initial launch. There is no way to have enough when the cannabis industry in your state launches. Let me ask you this question. Weed goes legal and they don't have enough licensed facilities. Weed takes 90, 120, 150 days to grow and to cure. How are they going to have legal weed yet? There's no way. So they're tripping. And if they do have weed available, like it says they had weed 2 weeks in, they're already out. It certainly isn't the quality or the quantity or at the scale that they need for an entire state. Not only that, but the states surrounding New Mexico are now traveling there to see what's going on. There is an influx of sales going on. You guys in these new states, if you don't know, you got to pay attention to what's going on in these other states. Stop tripping. Y'all got to do a better job of using data on this stuff, man. All right. Next one, cannabis story again, coming out of High Times. The Kentucky governor says he may use an executive order if medical cannabis dies. This is exciting, and I'll tell you why this is exciting, everybody. We're at the point where politicians, Republicans, Democrats, liberals, conservatives, people in the middle, whatever the words are, they want cannabis. They recognize that in order to maintain their values, whether it's progressive or liberal or whatever the middle one is, or the conservatives on the right, they understand that cannabis is now actually falls into all the sides. It actually makes conservatives and money, taxes. They have the same opportunities that others. It helps the low and middle class families. It helps schooling, public education. It helps infrastructure. So to pick your silver lining here and understand that if you look at Colorado, you look at bits and pieces of Washington, you look at Oregon, you look at some of these states, they are quite literally recreating and rebuilding their communities to some degree using cannabis dollars. So big shout out to the Kentucky governor for stepping in and potentially helping with an executive order if the medical cannabis bill gets denied. So that's pretty exciting. I want to read a little bit more. He is a first-term Democrat, which is crazy in Kentucky. Number one, we're going to explore that. It's something that we will look at. Its time has certainly come. If he could potentially issue an executive order making medical marijuana accessible if the bill dies. So the bill passed the House, where the GOP holds a large majority by a vote of 59-34. So it's going to get there, and then it doesn't get it doesn't get killed. It's going to get killed. I'll never forget this mother leaning forward and touching my hand. She told me what it meant to her child, and they all went around the room and said what it meant to them, Neem said. And I thought people, real good people, and I disagree with them. So I was starting to question it. I talked to physicians, did a lot of research on the issue. Put yourselves next to people that are regular, everyday people that don't have a ton of money, they don't have resources, maybe they don't have the greatest education, and understand that we believe in cannabis. I'm right there. We use cannabis for real health reasons. We use cannabis to help other people. Myself uses cannabis for a taxable job, right? I spend my tax income in the economy. So I just want, to any of the politicians, if they ever see this, if they ever come across this video, please consider helping a family. Please consider helping a kid, because this is exactly what we need in this world: more access to cannabis products. Not everything has to be about getting us high. A lot of different cannabis things haven't even been created yet. All right, up next, this is what we decided to title the episode today, because states made more than $3.7 billion in recreational pot sales last year. $3.7 billion. Hannah, imagine when Georgia turns on and Atlanta, one of the top 5 biggest cities in America, turns on. Imagine when all those universities, those big, huge Division I college campuses with their big football programs, imagine when they turn on, right? No disrespect to UCLA and USC, because those are big, highly respected schools, but we're talking about the South. We're talking about Florida at full force. We're talking about Georgia full force. The Carolinas full force at some point. Right now, they're missing out on so many millions of dollars that could go into their programs, go into their communities, go into taxes, go into supporting Black, Brown, and other POC communities. It is huge that these places start to consider this, that they feel the pressure of having healthcare from COVID trap people and not being able to help people. We're quite literally, we ran into this with COVID. If the hospitals are filled, what happens? If our healthcare system and the way it currently functions, which is pills and poisons and shots and injections and all these things, if that ever fails, and failing is not just the science doesn't work, right? Failing is there's not enough beds. That's what we saw with COVID, right? We saw hospitals filled. We saw morgues with too many bodies. We saw dead bodies sitting in frozen trucks, in freezer trucks for weeks, right? That was a real thing with COVID this year. RIP and respect to all those people who passed away and their families, because it's just insane. But that's what's crazy is cannabis quite literally can decrease, can limit, can mitigate the risk for so many different things. And so I have to encourage people, more access to cannabis isn't just about tax dollars. It's also about mitigating the risk of another pandemic happening and us fucking up the hospital system. I didn't have COVID for almost 2 years. And it wasn't until a random variant took me out, because I went to a super spreader type event where it was cold, it was wet, everybody was smoking weed and blowing out in the air, and it was inside. So, we got to make smart choices and a little bit more cannabis in the right places, and being at the right, less at the wrong events makes a big difference too. But you guys, please consider $3.7 billion is nothing to scoff at. All right. This is one that's super exciting. I don't know how often people are getting to Switzerland, but there is there's a cannabis wellness spa, okay, that is officially opened in Europe, in Switzerland. The Schloss Zermatt in Switzerland offers the first cannabis-scented relaxation clinic at the foot of the Matterhorn. In a move that was inevitable, if not out of an upscale version of Cheech and Chong's great European cannabis adventure, the first cannabis wellness spa has now opened its doors in Switzerland, promoting itself through the German-speaking press as a place to relax, Humph, in other words, an interpretation of cannabis luxury wellness of the cannabidiol kind. It is certainly a well-timed venture. It is not only safe from changing regulations, although the country is launching its own recreational trial, but also bound to attract COVID-weird adventurers looking for a luxury getaway. Hemp, muesli, and yoga with CBD oil-scented massages certainly sounds enticing, particularly as an après-ski event. The winter season lasts through April in this part of the world. Beyond this, of course, luxury wellness never really goes out of style. So I think that's super dope that we've got wellness cannabidiol fused experience. That is exciting. That is exciting. Big shout out to Switzerland for creating something nobody else got. Last but not least, on the cannabis side of things, you guys, well, Hannah, you're here. G4 Live. Let me talk to you about G4 Live a little bit, okay? G4 Live is the first, it is the only, it is the largest, it is the most exciting, it is the most creative and experience based, bud tender centric cannabis event in the world. Let me say this again. It is the largest, biggest, most exciting bud tender centric event in the world. It is in Las Vegas. It is coming up, everybody. It is coming up very, very soon. All right. It is in May. Where is it at? I want to say it's the 14th, 15th, and 16th, but I want to make sure that I have it correct. May 12th through the 14th in Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Convention Center. There is the G4 Live event presented by the BUDTENDER Awards. So G4 Live is it's a party, it's an experience, it's educational. There's brands, there's businesses, there's consumption, there's events at the resort world. Some of the largest and biggest and coolest brands in all of cannabis are going to be there. The first time Snoop Dogg and Travis Barker will be performing together, an infused set together. So that'll be exciting. Never been done before. And there's a number of other great acts. So I want you guys to definitely visit respectmyregion.com. You can type in the search bar at the top G4, one word, live, or Bud Tender Sessions or the Bud Tender Awards. And the content will be there. It will come up. You will be able to learn and buy tickets. So I highly recommend you guys check that out. G4 Live, the Essential Cannabis Super Event. Okay. We have a ticket giveaway as well as discounts available on our site. Again, respectmyregion.com/G4-live-Budtender Awards Las Vegas. Search it, search it, search it. Sign up. I will be there. I will party. It's going to be dope. All right. Last but not least, and I didn't realize that I had one more. This is because I thought it was a music one.
Yeah, I accidentally put that in music, and I was like, "That's not music." I don't know why I put it there, so I moved it up.
It's all good. It's all good. This one's super interesting. 10 super interesting weed facts that most stoners don't know, right? So, number one, this is in no particular order, okay? There is more dispensaries in Los Angeles than public schools and Starbucks. Wow. Crazy. Doesn't surprise me, though. Number 2, Shakespeare is said to have smoked weed. Forensic technology shows that there are traces of marijuana found in Shakespeare's clay pipes at his Stratford upon Avon Garden. They used a gas procedure to highlight cannabis residue that dated back hundreds of years. That's crazy. We literally have a picture of all his pipes on our page. That's dope. The first item ever sold on the internet was weed. Back before the internet was a thing, students from Stanford used their AI lab to purchase weed through an ARPANET account. This version wasn't necessarily an example of Amazon purchasing, but more of a Craigslist transaction. Credit card information can't transfer over the ARPANET servers, but this transaction definitely pioneered the days of online sales that we know today. The word canvas derives from the word cannabis. It's no secret that many musicians and artists alike use the wonderful plant to drive their creative spirit. There's no coincidence that the piece you need to create art would relate to the word canvas. To add, canvases were made of hemp back in the day. That actually doesn't surprise me at all. Did I know that? No, I did not. All right. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Tupac's music group, the Outlaws, mixed his ashes with weed and lit up. As unsettling as this may seem, it is a fact that Tupac loved his weed. The first time he got shot, the last thing he did before going to the hospital was call his mother and smoke a blunt. And after his death, his music collective Outlaws took the lyrics literally in the song Black Jesus when he says, cremated, last wishes, smoke my ashes. That is crazy. Bob Marley was buried with the Bible, his guitar, and a bud of marijuana. In Rastafarian religion, marijuana is one of its sacraments. The legendary musician decided to be buried with the very instrument he used to voice his creativity. Along with that, he was buried with the Bible with an open verse and the plant that his culture uses in their religion. This one I actually have heard before. This fact, you would have to smoke 1,500 pounds of weed in 15 minutes to reach a lethal dose. And technically, although you can leave an overdose on weed, again, it's more because you're not having oxygen reach your lungs or your brain. Like that's kind of where the issue comes in. I am familiar with this one. California was the first state to ban cannabis. Ironically enough, the state known for its weed became the first state to ban it from being used a century ago. It's funny to think that now our friends that don't live in California brag about having Cali weed today. Wow. According to a national survey, more than 6,000 Americans try weed for the first time every day. That is super cool. The magic moment of being high with your friends for the first time is happening as we speak. 6,000 people per day come to the cool side of the pillow. This is so funny. I want to meet. I wish I could meet those people. There needs to be Hannah. There needs to be a community for this. Like there needs to be like an open mic for trying weed for the first time. Like if there's 6,000 people trying weed every day, where are they? I want to hang out with them. Like
a Discord.
Yes. Trying weed for the first time Discord has to be a thing. Like that.
Yeah, like support group. Cool. Come smoke weed for the first time while talking to a bunch of stoners.
Yes, there's Discord and Reddit. I think we just launched our first Clubhouse. That's so funny, dude. Okay. And then we got a couple more. Sorry, that one got me excited. Oh, this is the very last one. The United States is the leading country for weed growth. Who would have thought? The U.S. is the leading cannabis producing nation in the world. From becoming banned a century ago, although production most likely to becoming the lead producer. Again, recreationally legal in 8 states. It is legal in 30 states. It is going to soon be legal in over 40 and eventually 50 states plus our territories or however that works. So you guys, I really appreciate you hanging out. Hannah, what a wonderful episode. Some really interesting things today. As again, the legal cannabis states made more than $3.7 billion. That's the story of the day, which clearly more access, more revenue, more taxes, more community support. People talk a lot about not having enough money, right? We got a product. It's clearly doing well. If we can get behind it, that number could be up at $100 billion plus across the country. Importing, exporting, taxation. So let's stop being afraid of what we don't understand, and let's take more of an effort to learn. Let's make more of an effort to provide opportunity to other people, to really truly lead by example instead of negativity in the press. So again, thank you everybody for hanging out. This was Joey J. Ping. We got Hannah Gershowitz in the building, coming out of Savannah, Georgia, and your boy here in Los Angeles. Hannah, do you have anything you'd like to say to the people before we get out of here today?
Just stay up to date with weed, hip hop, and EDM news on respectmyregion.com.
Well said. True killer, true professional. Hannah, we've got a bong review to do today. I got 2 other edibles to do today. It's going to be a good one. So if you guys are interested in learning about some cannabis, stay tuned. Really hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Number 11, Morning Joint. Like, follow, subscribe, talk that shit, do what you got to do. Either way, we'll see you next week. Hannah, love you.
Peace.
Love